This conference will now be recorded.
Yeah, let's start the session, guys. I mean, if others are joining, they'll join in between. Um, Sharing my screen. Let me know when if you guys can see it or not.
Yes, Vincent, that we are able to see.
Yes, we can see.
Yeah, can you guys see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, great. So, just a small recap, guys, on like where we are and what all we have covered in terms of the configuration elements, like especially the key figures. So, let me know, guys, whenever you're facing any lag or any disturbance in my voice or anything. I'll try to readjust my connections and we'll try to make it proper. Okay, I hope I am audible to you. So we have see in the key figures there are different things that we can achieve, and then we can um, with the help of all these different functionalities we can provide the solutions in terms of the better planning and etc, and will come as close as possible to the APO solution scope, and also with a few more advanced things in IBP. So we have seen an alert key figure. um, we have to configure an alert key figure, and we have to write a calculation for it based on the requirement that we get. The alert has to pass either a value of a 1 or a 0, um, and then it's up to us the way we interpret it, and then use this alert key figure in the Excel planning views. And every planner who can access the planning area can also have an access to this key figure. We have seen a snapshot key figure. We can take snapshots and preserve it for time, and see how the values have been evolved over time. And this we won't configure anything for snapshot key figure. Here we just create an operator, and the operator will create the snapshots that we want. In the operator we'll specify how many snapshot we want to take, and system will auto generate those snapshot key figures. At max we can change the names, save it, activate the planning area, run the operators, and take the snapshots of the key figures that we want. Then we have also seen attribute transformation concept, where we can transform the values of an attribute. It could be periodic based transformation, that you can transform the last year's forecast and then shift it onto the current year forecast, so that you can compare the current forecast with the last year's forecast, and then you can do some some kind of a comparison and can plan effectively. Or you can also transform a location values to another location, etc, etc. And the attribute transformation is also a type of a key figure that we have to create, and this also we are transforming a key figure value. So again, this is not for an entire data set, for the entire for entire key figures that were already created in this planning area. It's not like that. It's for a specific key figure. Pick that up and then transform the values of it. We have seen a helper key figure. Intermediate key figure, we can write the calculations in here and then reuse this helper key figure across. Helper key figure is not visible for the end user. It's a system related one. And then we have the attribute as key figure. And what is this? We can take an attribute and then make that as a key figure, so that it will have all the key figure properties. So mm, values that are coming from the S4 system, they might be having a static value for like a unit price. I already told that for a particular combination of a customer and product, the product that you're selling to a customer, the unit price can be $125. So, but you need that value 125 across your horizon to do a lot of different calculations. So for that, you can mark the attribute as a key figure, and then you can populate the value of 125 across the horizon that you want. So so we have seen the kind of a calculation and approach that we have to achieve to all this. So today I just want to spend time on versions, and then key figure fixing. Okay, and then we have also seen other stuff like planning nodes. That is also another configurable element inside the key figure. So today we'll see the fixation of the key figure values. So I think the people who worked on APO are familiar with that. Mm, So today, what I want to show is, let's say, I mean, this is from a real-time, scenario. Like this is what we have built for one of the, I think my first implementation we have built this. Let's just say, but I'm just changing the entire, my use case, picking up another key figure. The key figure that we are working on from last couple of days, that is a final available capacity. This is for location like plant 101, and this is for the resources that are there inside that plant. So it's called work center 101. um, so here we do a lot of calculations, and then finally we land up with the final available capacity. uh, but the planner will say that some kind of a manager or executive, so where he has a the right, decision making authority, or the one who knows, who has more insights to the industry, or to the entire planning processes. So he wants another key figure where he can maintain the values that he want. So and his values would be kind of an ultimatum, and then that is what will be used for further planning processes, for example like optimizer. So that's the thing that we talked, right? So we'll do all our maintenance planning, we'll come up with the schedule of the maintenance activity, and then we'll finally deduce the final available capacity, and then we'll pass on this value to the capacity supply key figure, which is an input for the optimizer, right? So now here the planner wants another key figure, which is called as a manual key figure. It's called adjusted. So now let's say here this is week 1, this is week 2, this is week 3, week 4. So here the values are 100 and 120, and then 140, and then 140. So this is a requirement, guys. So what is a requirement? So now system has to copy the plan onto the adjusted key figure, and let the planner to take a call on these particular values, and then he'll override it with the number that he wants, and system has to accept that number. So what it has to do, by default system has to copy all the final available capacity to the adjusted available capacity. That's the first step. Okay, second step is let the planner override. So now here I'll say 111, and I'll say like 333. So this is the capacity that I want the system to consider in. So I'll save it. So now these values have to get saved. So and then I'll also, and then I can also fix this. So this is what happens. So now I'm telling you, like now the entire maintenance planning activity has been revised. We come up with the different key figures, like it is called 200 and 200 and 200 across. So now what system has to do is, system shouldn't disturb the adjusted value in here, okay? But the non-adjusted values, which were actually deduced based on the calculation logic, that is copying the final available capacity. Their system can override, but not the user adjusted ones. Okay, so now third requirement is, so what happened with this? What happened is that, 1 second guys. Hey guys, sorry for that. Are you guys with me till now? Someone can
Yes,
let me know.
sir.
Yes, yes,
Yeah,
yes.
yes, great. Yeah, so the first requirement is, copy the calculated values into adjusted. Second requirement is, please enable the planners to override the values that he want. And uh, the third requirement is, even though the source key figure, that is a calculated value, even if they are changing, please don't change my adjusted key figures if the user has adjusted anything in it. Okay, the third requirement is to lock the values, that is to fix the values. Then is a fixing the adjusted. Okay, so now, let's say this week one, the user wants to fix it, and he'll fix it no matter what. This key figure 111 shouldn't be changed by anyone else, because this three and this week three he won't fix it. So if he won't fix it, others can change it. Like how? For example, like let's say this is all. Let's say this belongs to the May month of, um, and then let's say this is belongs to the month of June. So now if user opens this key figure, adjusted value available capacity, at a month of June, and if he punches a value like 222 over there, and if we write the disaggregation logic as a copy value, then what system does is, system copies the value of 222 from the aggregated level to the disaggregated detail level, that is from month to week, and system copies 222 across. So here what I'm trying to say is, if you don't fix it, so because your own entry, let's say that is at a aggregated level, that can change the values, but you don't want that to happen because you want to fix it. So in that case, this fixation will come in handy. um, so yeah, I mean, this is it done. So now there is another final key figure, I mean, that is called capacity supply, which is an input to the uh, you know supply planning. And now planner wants to run a copy operator, and then he wants to copy this into this, and it's an operator. And then the operator will copy the values when the operator was run. So it is not through an inherent calculation logic. So whereas in here, this is, we are achieving through the key figure calculations. Okay, now let's do the configuration for it, and then let's also test that. So I'm coming here, this is a test config. Where is our, and also yesterday, if you guys remember, I think day before yesterday, I'm talking about the key figure properties, that is a stored and then the calculated. Stored key figure, I mean, uh, stored and calculated. Stored will have a value saved in in the database, and calculated is what's happening from the calculation. So if you can see here, these orange ones, week one, it's a stored value. Week three, this is a stored value. But week two, 200 is coming from another key figure. Week four is coming from another key figure. So that means this adjusted available capacity is holding both the stored values and then the calculated values. So where to specify, how to specify, we'll also see this in that in today's example. So this is our fine maintenance final available. So now let me create another key figure, that is a Z maintenance adjusted final. This is at a weak resource location. Yes. So I'm saying that this is a stored one, and it's also an editable. So that this is also a calculated one. And this is a disaggregation. We have all these values, like equal distribution, copy, and etc. etc. So we'll say equal distribution for now. You see this enable fixing. If you checkbox this, then system will do. I mean, system allows us to do a fixation for it. So so now next is enable planning nodes. This we have seen. Um, now I'm writing the calculation logic for it. So what is the logic? So first, system has to look for its own values, and if they are null, that means user hasn't entered anything. If user hasn't entered anything, then copy the source key figure values. If it is not null, then please preserve the values that user has entered. So for that, I'm writing this calculation. If it is null, if what is null, if this the same key figure, if the this maintenance file available is null, then do a copy of our source key figure, that is the z maintenance final available, right? So I'm just giving this. Not the request level, but it is at the weak resource location. Um, and then if it is not null, then just please copy the source key figure, I mean the actual key figure values itself. So that is z maintenance adjusted. Okay, so now I'm validating the calculation. System has said that you have used two key figures for it. So one is the z maintenance final available. This is selected as an input, grayed out because system will not allow us to do any changes in it, because that is what you have used for the key figure calculation logic. It's not a stored key figure because there is some calculation happening based on the maintenance jobs, etc. But whereas the maintenance adjusted final is a stored, that means user can enter in this. So now this calculation is happening, and then the calculated values are getting set in the weak resource location here. So now at the request level, so I shouldn't touch the stored value. Why? If you guys have followed it, if I say that this is a stored value, then system while displaying, it will only display the 111 and 222 and 222, but not these values, because these are coming from the calculation. Okay, saving it. And for any key figure that we do a fixation, if we bring up, if we enable the fixation functionality, so what system does is system auto creates two internal key figures. So you can say with this naming convention, dis underscore fix fix indicator underscore the key figure that we use, that is a z maintenance adj final. And also another key figure, internal key figure, that is a dis underscore fix qty underscore z maintenance adj final. So these are for internal purposes, and we cannot reuse these key figures also. So this just stays in the backend, not going to be visible to the end user. So yeah, so this is one. So we can trigger an activation, but before that, I also want to show it to you guys the version copy, versions thing, so how to play with the different versions. So So I click on the master data workbook. So yesterday I'm viewing the product master data, and by default the version here is base version. I can view the upside version also. I think that's what we have yesterday. Then also you see there are only two things that are coming in: base version and upside version, because we have enabled only upside version. So I'm opening it. Upside version will not have any data because I haven't populated any data. So but base version has so many products. So there's 35 products are there. Base version don't have anything. So I can actually start building my own thing in the upside version. So I'll edit this. So I can say like prod 102 and save it, and I can also save my resource master data, maintenance master data, and then I can do the maintenance activity in the upside version itself, and then bring those values into the base version. Okay, so this is one way. There's another way where you can copy all the data from base version to the upside version. So how to do that? There is this option called versions here. We have three options: manage, status, schedule. Doing a manage here. So there are two options here, whether you want to copy the versions or whether you want to delete the version. I want to do a copy from what to what, from base version to the upside version. So this is the filtering options. Master data, let's copy everything in the upside version. Okay, and also let's copy everything in the key figures. This might take some time, but let's do a location ID filtering, and let's just deal with our capacity planning. I'm just copying only mills. So I'm scheduling a version copy. This job has been scheduled. You can go into the status. So you can see the details here. So version from is base version, version 2 is upside version. So all these things are getting copied. This maximum customer receipts and everything that is there in this planning area is getting copied. So it will take just a few minutes. Okay, so it's getting in process and then finished. So it's getting in process. It would be done quickly because of the filter that I applied. So it's just for, but the key figures list is huge. There are some 450 odd key figures are there, and master editors are also huge. Yeah, it's finished. So now if I open my location, and then this is in the upside version. You see, first column is a version, upside version, two locations are there, and then everything is there. So now in the planning purposes, and I can also open up the base version and then also the upside version. So the very first option is the scenarios. Yesterday we have seen, day before yesterday we have seen how to create a scenario, but that's an ad hoc one. It it reads the data from the base version itself, or from the any version. I mean, you can go into a version and then you can create a scenario from that version, but it reads its master data and the key figure data from that version itself. But whereas in this versions here, if I click on upside version, again it creates another column, and then the column for the versions, then you can see two different values. Okay, it is showing only one base version. Let me, I'm not sure whether I have done the selection properly or not. I think I have selected the versions properly. Hmm, interesting. I think the copying didn't happen properly. I think I didn't give the resources. I think maintenance job in the website version. Yeah, it got copied. Nice. So let me open the key figures, whether the key figures so I'm master data workbook, I'm opening the planning object with key figure data, and the version is upside, right? So every time we select base version. So now I selected this. Let me go to the what is that, weak resource location, the other key figures that we deal in usually, or the standard capacity, etc. Go into the current time period. Okay, if you have seen, all these got grayed out. Why they are grayed out? Because I think I haven't marked these key figures as version specific key figure. So that's the thing. What does that mean? What is this version specific key figure now? So we can make a planning area as a version specific planning area. That means that planning area, the entire data that it has can have multiple versions to it. So if you remember this this diagram here, so this is our entire modeling. So now this model can have three different versions. This is upside version, this is a base version, and this is downside version. So we can mark this, and then but we need to, for the key figures, we need to go key figure by key figure, and we have to specify whether that key figure is a version specific key figure or not. Why we should do that? Why means because it puts an unnecessary load, right? So because if let's say if you make one key figure, if it is at a weak resource location, imagine if your time profile is having 5 years of data, and imagine how many weeks are there. 5 into 52 weeks, and then if you have 100 resources, 5 into 52 into 100 resources, and you have some 10 locations, 5 into 52 into 100 into 10. So system holds that much of data for one key figure. And imagine how many key figures we have. And if you're making it as another version, so system has to allocate another database set for it, right? So but in the real planning, we might not want to do a version specific planning for all the key figures. So maybe for only few set of key figures we want to do, we want to come up with alternate plans, right? So in that case, why to select all? So that's why IBP has given an option that we can go and pick up the key figure that we want. So I'm in the versions page. So this is a planning area that has been in the drop down that has been selected. Onto the left hand side, you can see there are two options: downside active, upside active. So in the downside active, it is giving the name, and then also here you can see that whether it's a version specific key figure or not. So the actuals quantity, this is just only the base version, because it's an actuals quantity, right? Actuals quantity is how much actually is being produced. So that's a key figure that that's a that those are the values that this key figure holds in. So actuals would be actual, it would be just one value. You cannot have multiple values for that. So if you say my actuals production last week is 120 units, it would be 120. You cannot have upside on one value for upside, another value for downside, right? So that's why this is all base version. But another key figures like additional lot size demand, that could be a version specific key figure. For base you can have one value, upside you have one other value. So if I go to our key figure, that is a Z main, so I have to say all the available key figures. If I say Z main, so you see all these maintenance plan, everything, so they are not selected for the version specific key figure here. So I have to select this, then I have to make this as a this thing. So I'll just select only one, just to show it to you guys. Where is it standard? Yeah, this is a one. Just making this as standard key figure. Okay, I'm triggering the activation. So it will trigger our the other calculation also that we wrote, and then the fixation and stuff. Well, let's come back to the PPT and just see some theory that we have. I hope I'm audible to you guys, right?
Yes, yes.
Yeah, great. So creating the versions. Versions are used to manage alternate plans. So this is our single point definition, I would say single line definition, to manage alternate plans, and they can be defined using all or subset of the key figures of the planning area, including calculated key figures. So you can see here, either you can pick up all the key figures that we have, but this is not the best practice, but only pick the key figures that we want to do alternate plans. And for sure there would be few key figures where you want to have different values maintained for every version, right? Versions can contain references to the base version key figure so that these can be used in calculations within the version. For example, for example, here there is this key figure called standard capacity. So that is 168 hours is a standard capacity. For 1 week, 168 is a one. So this cannot have a base version and upside version. I mean, you just use this is just a base version. And then there is another key figure called as a final available capacity. So this could be both a base version and then an upside version. So if you write a calculation for it, that is the final is equal to standard capacity plus x plus y plus z. So now system can system will do the summation standard plus x plus y plus z and result the values. So now inside this key figure called x plus y plus z, x could be a base version key figure, but y could be version specific key figure, z could be version specific key figure. But system would be generous enough to read the values from its version itself. Like key figure x doesn't have a upside version, so system would read the base version values. Not sure you guys have followed it or not, but let me go here. So you're saying a b c, and then the result is going and sitting in the x. Okay, so let's say this is the base version, and then this is upside version. So base version is 100, this is 200, this is 300. Okay, now this is just key figure A is just the base version. Example is a standard available capacity, that remains same. But whereas B can have a different value for upside version. So here on the upside, I'll say 222, the best case scenario. Key figure C is a 333, best case scenario. And I'll write x is equal to A plus B plus C. That is a formula that I wrote. X is equal to A plus B plus C. Okay, now what system does is this is equal to sum of this, and this is equal to this plus this plus this. Okay, that's what it is saying. In the upside version, you will see a value of 655 for value of x, but in the base version, you will see a value of 600. But the calculation that it uses, that is A, B, C key figures, out of those A, B, C key figures, A key figure is just a base version key figure. It doesn't have, it will not have any values for upside version, but still system would go and read its base version values and populate the key figure final calculated values as 655. I hope you have followed that. Another point is about the master data. Version can have version specific master data. The versions that do not have version specific master data share the master data with base version. You can copy key figures or master data between the versions. So we have just seen the functionality of it. So let's just see whether our activation job is running properly or not. I hope it is not colliding with any other job that is being scheduled. This will take forever. Going to the logs app and then verifying the status of it. And I hope it is getting executed properly without any hindrances. Going to the home screen, application logs. I'll filter on created by. Yeah, so this is one. I think it's running in. Yeah, it is running. Okay. Checking it again. Yeah, let it take some time. Let's come back to our theory. So so now let's see the differences between the scenarios and versions. Okay, and then there is also another option called simulate. Simulate is you know, how to put it. So simulate is, you're just creating a simulation. X is equal to a plus b plus c. Okay, let's say a, b, c are stored values. You put 100, 200, 300 here, it gives 600. Now you want to simulate this entire key figure calculation with another kind of ad hoc value, like I'll give 111 here, but I will not save it. I'll just do a simulate. So this is simulate button here. You click on simulate. You see, yeah, just this is the theory, guys. Just read this. This would be good enough. Execute a recalculation and see how the key figure changes and selected planning algorithms affect the related plans in the planning view. This is a key without permanently saving your changes. So that's the key, guys. So that's a simulate. Okay. For example, supply planning algorithm, you're running it. So what if my inventory target is 10,000, not 1,000? But I don't want to enter 10,000 and save the 10,000, because the moment I save it, other planners who are viewing the data will also see the value of 10,000, which is not the correct figure, because I haven't yet made my mind. I just want to simulate and see the results. What if my inventory target is 10,000? So I'll enter 10,000 and then I'll simulate the optimizer algorithm, and then it will just give me the values. And what it does, it just executes a recalculation and see how the key figure changes and its affected related plans in this planning view. Okay, that's the key, in this planning view, without permanently saving your changes. So if another person is also viewing the same capacity consumption or production plan data based on this 10,000 inventory target that I have entered, that plan will not be disturbed, because it just recalculates the values inside this planning view itself. So that's the thing about the simulate. So now let's compare all these three, right? I mean, those three would sound same and similar, the scenario and then the version and the simulate. So so yeah, let's see. So I have listed down from my experience. I think even in Google also you will not get all these tabular format comparison. So first, what is a creation? How this all these elements are created? So this is the option that is available under the scenarios. Create. But this you won't create ad hoc. This is a configuration required. So from Excel planning view, you cannot create it, right? So we have seen into the We went into the configuration app and then we clicked on versions, and then we created the version that we want. And whereas simulate is here in the data input, this simulate option. So this is ad hoc, this is ad hoc, but this requires a configuration. Okay, how the values are populated, how the entire plan is populated. For example, inventory target, I change something, how it how it has been this thing. So it is when created, you have to create a scenario, right? So we usually we create a scenario here, and then we do our planning. And whereas in versions we have to do a copy process in the Excel UI. So that's when you can populate a value, or you can very well edit it and then go and pick up the master data or key figure, edit it, and then you can save the values that you want. And simulate is when you have simulated. Master data changes, no, in the scenario you cannot change a master data value. If you change a master data value, that means you're changing it for the entire planning scope. But whereas version is, you can change a plan master data value only for a one particular that version. So base version, the production plan lead time or transportation lead time is like 5 days. In upside version it could be just 1 day. Run your supply plan, get a different plan. So the master data could be changed in the version. Simulate also it's no, because simulate is just on the fly thing. Okay, what is the purpose of all these three? On the fly what if scenarios. But whereas for the version, alternate plans maintained over time. So scenario is on the fly, and this is also on the fly, but at least with the scenario would stay intact till the scenario is closed. For example, if I click on the manager, so yesterday we created this thing, right? Meeting the maintenance plan targets day before yesterday on the 14th of May, and postponing the maintenance target. This scenario at least would stay for some time, where I can go and either I can promote it, or I can reset it, or I can delete it. But this simulate is just like only that particular view itself. So so once I close that view, everything is gone, because all the things are like just ad hoc. Shareable scenarios are shareable. Yes. So you click on manage here, and then you pick this scenario called postponing the maintenance target. You click on this share button, and then you pick up the planner that you want to share it. You can share it. But whereas version, you cannot share it, because it is not necessary to share, because version is there inside your planning area. Whoever is logging into the planning area can access the different versions that are available, and then he can view the data that he wants. And in the simulation, no shareable, because simulation is just a local simulation. You're changing x is equal to a plus b plus c. You're changing a value of a 111, and then you're simulating, you see a different value of x. So that's it. So and where is the point of sharing it? Because that 111 just remains there, but the value of 100 would be there in the backend database. And who creates this? Created by a planner or end user, dynamically created when using the system. Whereas a version is the administration, guys. I mean, at the time of configuration, we have to finalize how many versions has to be there. And again, in these versions, what key figures has to be version specific key figure, and then we have to do all that configuration thing. And sorry, and whereas simulate is also planner and end user thing. Okay, guys. I hope the job would have been finished. Refreshing. Yes, activation successful. So now let's come here. Yeah, let me log off and log in now. This was from last session. Okay, let me bring up the key figures that we want. We want the final available capacity and then the adjusted one. Okay, 1 second. Think. Think the calculation logic hasn't. So this is a key figure, right? Z maintenance 8 is a final. Why the logic is not working properly? I think I have done a mistake. Let's see what mistake I have done. Okay, this should copy. I don't know why it is not copying. So at least the fixation we'll see, but I'll also get back to the key figure and see why it is not working. So let's say I gave 200 here, and then I can fix this value. Right click, fix this value. So there is this lock button appears here. I need to save it. Okay, and so 1 second, guys. So week 20 would be this week. This is week 21. This is week 22. Let's go to week 23. That is a month of June. So I'll give here 222 and then 333, or just I'll give 1 1. Let's just. So you can fix a value. Now system will not override it. So if I open it monthly bucket, so this is 23, right? So I'll open till 29. Okay, and also open another month. This is periods. I'll say this is month, and I'll pick up the 2019 month. This is May, and then this is July. Clicking on OK. Okay, so now this June, if I enter the value of 1000, saving it, the backend rejected some of the changes that you made to one cells. Errors occurred in disaggregation. Okay, details. Error occurred in disaggregation, manual assembler, adjusted final capacity. The cell is completely fixed. Okay, unfix this cell and 1000, saving it. Okay, this is changing the values of these 2 weeks. 1000 is getting disaggregated to 500 here. And now let's say I'll say it as a 1 and then I'll fix it. So now if I say 1000, So now this, the one remained same, but the week 25 values became 999. So if I give 500 here, I'm saving it. So this still remain 1, but this becomes 499. So what's happening? So what's happening is that week 24 is getting fixed because I clicked on right click and it's got fix. Have you guys followed it? What happens if you fix a cell? I take that as an S. Now let's go back and see why the values are not getting copied. What went wrong with the key figure calculation? Go to the key figure. Z main. This is the one. No, not this. Yeah, this is the one. So I'm saying if my maintenance final is null. Oh no, what I've done. This is wrong. This is wrong. This is totally wrong. So first, the calculation has to look for the adjusted values first as a high priority. So I should have written it properly. Z maintenance. Z maintenance adjusted final is null. If my user entry is null, then copy the maintenance final available. If it is not null, then copy my maintenance final itself. Now this would work. Triggered another activation. Before this activates, so just a recap, guys, on what we have done today. So so today we have seen the versions and the page where we specify whether a key figure is a version specific key figure or not. That checkbox, we saved it and activated it. Second thing is we have seen how to load or how to view the master data versions version by version. So we have seen base version product master data has some 35 records. Upside version product master data has 0 records. Now I can go and start my planning afresh. Like I can start from the scratch again in the upside version. Go into the upside version, load your products, load your locations, load your maintenance activity, and start building up the values and come up with different plans. Second thing, you don't have to maintain your version data manually. You can run a job and you can manage your versions by copying from version 1 to version 2. And while you're copying, you can also put a filter, and the filter is an attribute based filter and also time based filter. You can copy your master data from base version to upside version or other version, or you can copy the key figures from base version to the version that you want. And we are yet to see how to see the same key figure having alternate plans for two different versions. So that was one. And second thing is the use case is that the calculated values has to be auto pop copied onto the adjusted values, but the user can override those calculated values, and can he should be able to save it, so that system the adjusted key figure will hold two different set of values. That is, the first value is the user maintained one, the second is from the calculation. And another on top of it, there is another thing that is called fixation. You can fix any cell. So now if the cell has been fixed, nothing can change it. Okay, so those are the things that we have seen. Now let's see. No, it's still checking the relationships with the model entities. So in the versions, there is this option to create a new version. Go into a different planning area. Create new version, and then you create this version called SNOP. SOP, Sales and Operations Planning, or AOP, Annual Operating Plan. Click on OK. AOP becomes inactive. This is say that. And then pick all the key figures. All the key figures that are there. And also whether you want the AOP version to have its own master data, click on version specific master data. Save it, activate it, test for the planning area test DRP. It can have a different data set for the version called AOP. And when you're writing an interface, you can also specify whether it's an inbound interface or an outbound. You can specify from which version the values has to be picked up, base version or AOP version. And even when you plot a chart or creating an alert or anything, it could be from a particular version. Another thing that I want to highlight is that a version is a complete different set. That is fine, but a version cannot have its own configuration. That's the thing. So for example, here I showed you x is equal to a plus b plus c. That is the base version calculation that we wrote, and that would remain as it is for all the versions. The values can change, fine. A can have one value in one version, another version can have different value, but you cannot write another. I mean, if your intention is that, you know, if you want to write x is equal to a plus b plus c plus also y, this is not possible. You cannot ask that, okay, now this calculation I want for, you know, my AOP version, and this is for all my other versions. Not possible. Whatever version that you create, that is reading the data from the core configuration that you did, because that's why you see the version remains on the right hand, and then this is reading from all the setup that is already been done here. In my implementations that I've worked, so an utility company, piping network, huge pipes. If there is a particular, if like between two points, they'll have multiple, pipes, big pipes. So sometimes they'll have a plan that, what if I discard all these, four different pipes that I have, but come up with one big pipe or something like that. In our language, it is called a new transportation lane. So if I connect this new transportation lane, what would be the impact of my this thing? And but this is a strategic decision, right? So you want to see how, if I have a new transportation lane in my network, and its impact over my entire supply planning for the next 1 year, let's just say. So for that you don't want to disturb the base version, right? Because the base version is connected to the S4 system, and plant maintenance, etc. The values are going from IBP and coming back to IBP, and lots of things are happening. So for that, what we facilitated is that we said that we'll create a new version. So all your strategic thinking, what if I have a new transportation lane, what if I discard this plant and come up with a new plant, and what will the impact of that in my next 1-2 years. So do that in your upside version, and go to that location source master data. So in the base version you have 100 pipes, 100 transportation lanes. You create one more transportation lane in the version that you want, that becomes 101 transportation lanes. Run your supply plan in that version, you will have a different results in that version, and then discuss those results with your team, and then maybe take a decision. But in the location source master data, you'll have you have this ship from location, product ID, mode of transport, etc. But if you want to create another attribute only in the upside version or only in one particular version, not going to happen, because the versions read its master data config from the planning area config that is coming from the base version. Okay, so versions can have different values, but it cannot have different model in itself. Hope you guys have followed that. So if that is a requirement, then you better create a new planning area and then do everything in that planning area, and then just leave your major planning area as it is. Activation successful, disconnecting, connecting back. So you see here, the final is got copied onto the adjusted by default, but I'll say 111 here. I'll save it. System takes the user entry, the overridden value. Now it becomes 111. So let's deal with this. This is June, right? June means this is week 20, 21, 22, 23, week 23. So this is 168. Now I can very well go and change it as 200. The 200. So other this thing, so it preserved the calculated values, but in these two time buckets it took the user entry that I have given. So if I go to the June, if I make this as a 2000, in the June month it disaggregates and it showed the disaggregated values. But if I fix it, it will preserve the fixed value, and it will change the other remaining things. Okay, still standard capacity is showing only for the base version. I think we have selected that as a version specific one, but I'm not sure. This is test config. This is okay. I selected for downside or upside. Okay, I selected for downside. That's why it is not coming in for downside. Going edit mode. So I've selected the standard capacity for the downside version, not for the upside version. So it doesn't have any values for downside version because I haven't done anything. So now I'll do what I'll do. I'll copy the base version to the downside version, not the status. Inside this versions manage, I want to copy from base version to downside version. What I want to copy, I want to copy the standard capacity. There's also this do not copy planning notes is there, but this key figure doesn't have any planning notes. If you have planning notes, you can also specify whether you want to preserve the notes that you have entered for the your source version. There's a schedule, go to the status. The operator name is merge. Scheduled, you can see the selections also. Version from is base, version 2 is downside. The key figure that's selected is standard capacity and only that. And the other job that we have ran is for the other key figures. Yeah, it is finished. Let's come back here. So it copied the base version values. Now I can maintain my own values here, and this version can have my own values, and then this version can have its own plan. So I can do my entire thing in a different version. So that's it, guys. Any doubts?
Venkat, quick question on the versions. Normally in SAP, if you take any standard like financial things or anything, you'll see the versions like 001, 002, 003, or whatever may be the configure, right?
Yes, sir.
So here in APO, can we create how many versions like you want, or base version is the standard, which is a 000, which is the final version or something. We have a one upside version and downside version, and also you created in a some other planning area, you created one version. So
Yes, sir.
can you configure any number of versions you want?
Yes, sir. I mean, but the SAP recommends that maximum 4 versions, 5 versions, or 4 to 5 is the
For
best
planning
practice.
purpose, okay.
Yeah, you can still go for 7 versions, but that would put an enormous load on your planning area because you're simply multiplying your entire data set.
The
And
entire
as you
data set,
rightly
yes.
said, yeah, as you rightly said, we can come up with our own versions. So and then and we can specify what key figure has to be there in that version, and then give a name or something. Or either you can discard the upside and downside and come up with AOP version and then marketing version or etc etc.
Okay.
Okay, guys, if we don't have any doubts, then we'll touch base tomorrow. Okay, any doubts you have,
Quick
just
question.
please drop a note.
Yeah.
Yes, Madhu.
On version, like we selected here as a version is a key figure specific in the checkbox. So if you don't
Yes, sir.
if you don't check that checkbox for that particular key figure, so you cannot you cannot have a multiple versions. Okay.
Exactly, sir. So you see,
Okay.
there are all these maintenance key figures that we have created: maintenance adjusted final, maintenance actual capacity consumption, maintenance capacity consumed. All so only I think I have selected this. Sorry.
Yeah.
So only this was selected for the version specific. All other, only the base version is there.
Okay.
So you cannot have multiple values for these versions.
Okay. If you want to have a copy from one version to the other, um, normally, like, that's what we do, right? You have a sales for this year, and if you want to copy the actuals to the next year into 1.5 or 2 times of the, like, for a forecast, so into the different version. So that's how you normally start the to start the data, right? To have a some data in the system to plan.
Hmm. Yes, yes, sir. Tomorrow, what is the topic I'll cover? So now I need to. Think I'm planning to start with the demand planning activities, and then start with all the new product introduction, and also there are some operators that are remaining, like copy operator, disaggregation operator, or let's cover these operators tomorrow. So I'll cover the operators, copy operator, disaggregation operator, etc., and then also how we can club them and create a job, kind of a chain, and how we can run all these jobs step by step, one by one, and then how we can schedule them, etc. So and then we'll start with the demand planning overview, kind of a, like what options we are available is for IBP, and then we'll start with demand planning activity, create a forecast model, run the forecasting, do a new product introduction, phase in, phase out, data realignment, etc., etc. Okay. Thanks, guys. Any doubts? Please drop an email to the meeting coordinator. We'll touch base tomorrow same time. Thanks all for joining. Yeah. Bye.
Thank you.